Yeah, maybe that's it.
I hear static.
Wait, whoa, you just came in. Hey,
Yeah, but I can't hear you guys.
you can't hear us.
No.
We can hear you.
That's
well.
great. Well, I'm glad you.
That one all the way at the stadium?
Yeah. Good evening and welcome to the Ford Sports Village at the Z-Plex in Melissa, Texas for the LSA Playoff Tournament. I'm Heckman Harrison alongside Patrick Franklin and former Syracuse lacrosse great Morgan Alexander. And Morgan and Patrick, this is a weekend obviously where the University of Texas is the toast of the LSA. And forget about saving the best for last. We get things kicked off with the best in LSA. And Morgan, if Texas hoists the trophy, they will have basically gone undefeated this season.
Yeah, it doesn't really shock me with their head coach being Kyle Hartzell, one of the best to ever play the game. And a lot of times with one of the best, you get the best coaching and it develops at a younger level and continues on for a program. It's all about setting the tone and culture, and I think that's exactly what he's done here at Texas and will continue to do for years to come.
Patrick, on the other side for Baylor, they have their work cut out for them. Coming up against a UT squad, as we're stating, is rolling right now, 7-6. Key to victory for a team like this that obviously comes in underestimated and the underdog.
Yeah, I think for Baylor, it's all about trying to slow this game down as much as you possibly can and trying to say, you know, we can make good decisions in the settled offense and defense and try to eliminate as much as we can. You know Texas is going to go on runs, but how often can you answer those runs and also stop them at critical times in the game?
As both teams are down for the face-off, I will say players to watch for the University of Texas, number 25, Jacob Jackson. And on the other side for the Baylor Bears, number 6, Mark Bruckner. As we get started here at the Z Complex in Melissa. And the Bears have the face-off and the first possession.
I think physicality is going to be something that's huge in this game. When you have two teams, especially one as a powerhouse as Texas is, getting up on them quickly to rattle them early to set that tone is what Baylor's looking to do here.
As they have numbers here early. Errant pass goes across the field, out of bounds. Possession is going to go to the Longhorns. And I think you make an important point there, Morgan. It's going to be all about the ground ball wars and also who sets the tone physically. You know, for UT, that's what they love to get you into, a physical match, especially with all the depth that they have.
Yeah, I think for Baylor offensively, it has to come in time of possession. I know you have 80 seconds on that shot clock, but burning it down to the last 20. When you have a high-powered offense like Texas, you cannot run and gun them, but a way you can stay with them is burning that shot clock, taking time off of the clock in general. Every time you have the ball, they don't have it. They can't score.
Easy clear there for Texas, even though the Bears trying to present some pressure. Key point there. Sent it by given to you by Morgan Alexander, knows everything about the game. We will be leaning heavily on that knowledge. Both of you guys coaches, so you coach the game, you know the game well.
Yeah, and I coach women's lacrosse. It's definitely a little different, but I grew up diehard Syracuse men's lacrosse fan, still am, so.
Patrick, so far, what are you seeing?
It's been a little sloppy in between the lines, which is something you can kind of expect with two teams a little bit tight coming out in their first playoff game, seeing them eating a lot of the shot clock, but look for them to settle in as we see them sweeping over the top here.
Maury Stein in the middle of the alley with the pass out behind the X, getting it in close to number 7, Sterling Hupp. First shot attempt on goal by number 25, Jacob Jackson.
Shot clock runs out here. You want to throw the ball at the end line and get your middies off the field and get your D-mids in so that you can stop them in transition. A little bit more of a sense of urgency with that, right? You got to get off the field. There's 1 second left. Get off so that the Ds can get on.
And I don't know if you guys are as confused as I am by the Baylor colors. I'm looking for the Baylor Bears. I'm like, who are these guys? What color is this? And talk about an ode to the old school is what they're giving us right now. And these old school jerseys for the Baylor Bears. So far, Patrick, as you said, a little bit of nerves on both sides playing out here in the early minutes of the first quarter.
Good ball movement here, moving it around the outside. That's what you need to do. Make the defense have to move. Don't keep the ball in the same spot.
You see the defense, the slide coming immediately, Morgan, from the University of Texas. Again, just shutting those shooting lanes down. Watch for number 13, Giuseppe Rendazzo. Guy that's small in stature, but he is quick.
The biggest thing is, though, if you're going to take a 1v1, expect an early slide on an aggressive defense like this, but you have to be ready to step in. If your defender leaves you to go on the double, you have to step in and call for the ball.
Bears now bringing the ball in from the end line, and that is Mark Brugner. Before mentioned, high scorer for the Bears. Timeout called here. Shot clock did not start. Make sure we keep things on the up and up. This is going to be all weekend long, guys. We will be here at the Ford Sports Complex here in Melissa. And this is a weekend of LSA lacrosse that is some Division I, Division II, and Division III champions will be crowned this weekend.
And what's a little lacrosse without rain? This morning I thought we might get rained out, but here we are, sun shining.
Isn't that something? Right before the face-off, the sun comes out. You know, there was a bit of lightning earlier. Everybody here at Game On Sports is like clutching their pearls. What's going to happen?
Yeah.
What are we going to do? Is this thing going to be canceled? And the lacrosse gods have spoken.
They really have.
As you see number 24 working in the alley. That is a turnover, and the ball is going to go back to the Longhorns.
It's force feeding the middle. Just time of possession again. You still had about 20 some odd seconds on the shot clock. Just kick it through X, find a cutter down the middle instead of just throwing one into a lot of traffic. And that's something that you might see Baylor be doing a lot because of Texas's defense and how aggressive they are. It can get. If it gets to you early and you feel that pressure, you just want to get rid of the ball, but sometimes just keep running and run out of it instead of cause a turnover.
And one of the best, obviously, in LSA, between the pipes for the University of Texas, number 5, Roddy Brown, that has 119 saves on the season. Texas with clearing another opportunity on offense. Thought about the shot, and there it is, the first score by Maury Stein. Doesn't take long. working inside to the crease, and the score for the Longhorns.
Yeah, number 8 in white. All this is here is just a slight hesitation. He freezes the defense. They think he's going to shoot it right away and goes by him. Defensively, you got to step up, get on his hands way sooner, but that's a great dodge overall.
Just his ability to get his hands free right there at the last second. Just a playmaker as number 8 take matters into his own hands, as the Longhorns now leading by a score and also winning at the faceoff for number 33, Wes Gilbert.
And games are won at the faceoff. I think that's super important to talk about, is the fact that possession happens right at the faceoff. If you win those battles, you're more apt to win if you can win at least over 60 to 70%.
You see those possessions starting to pile up here early for the Longhorns, as number 7, Sterling Hupp, working the offense from behind X, getting it back front side to number 41, a guy that can spin it, and that's Jack Egan with the score.
Yeah, 41 in white here, dodging hard with his left hand, ripping it low away from the goalie's stick. That's a great shot. A lot of times you think the pretty goals are the ones that are high, left, right corner, but hitting it low on that corner is a tough shot, but one that's extremely hard to stop. That's just a great dodge and great finish.
One of my favorite players, I'm telling you, this guy, number 41, Jack Egan, only has 27 goals on the season, but he does it all. Ground balls, he's a great defender as well, but good to see him get to scoring here early in the first quarter, and that's another save there by the Baylor Bears. Trying to work the clear in between defenders or get the turnover, but all of a sudden a long pole comes in between them, and that's the ground ball, and that's the physicality, Morgan, that you were talking about. Who's going to set the tone?
And that's a textbook ground ball. We just saw 4 people go for a ground ball down here on the O end for Texas and just could not pick up the ball. 42 runs through the ball, picks it up in full speed, brings it down the field. That's what you're looking for, the full speed aspect. Across the board, both of these teams are struggling early on. And
that's JT Powell, number 42, but also 45, Brad Wittenberg, a low-to-low shot, just right by the goalie.
It's not very often you see a guy that's taking a lot of faceoffs for your team, staying out and playing offense and having a pretty significant impact. All 3 goals for Texas so far have been off of a wind-up where they're, going at their men, maybe simulating a shot, and then getting to a second level where they can really get into a good scoring position.
Yeah, and 45 in white there. It's all about moving the defense. They had numbers on the backside. You spin the ball low, the defense tries to shift, can't get there in time, and he nails it high for the easy goal.
They take a timeout on the field. We'll do the same and be right back as play resumes here on Game On Sports. Back in action here in Melissa, Texas. Alexander and we are at the face-off, and Patrick Franklin, sorry about that. I was waiting for some more action to happen. I thought we missed out on something, Patrick. But so far, UT is on the roll, man.
Yeah, Wittenberg gets another face-off there after scoring the last goal. No signs of slowing down for 45 in white.
Tucker George running the offense now. The Longhorns working from behind the X, getting it back top side, 1v1, spin move applied, and that's easy pickings for Ethan Alfonso for another score for UT.
Yeah, 25 in white here. Roll dodge, off a pass, easy lefty shot there. And one of the great things about Jacob Jackson is his ability to use both hands, right? Catching the ball with your right hand, spinning to your left and finishing it. A lot of defenders want to push you out and guide you out with your strong hand, but here he was able to use his left hand to make him pay.
I tried to give number 26, Ethan Alfonso, some credit for that great shot, but I appreciate that, Morgan. Jacob Jackson, definitely with the spin move and a great score. They are piling it on right now.
No one there to back up the ball. That's extremely important. You cannot have that, especially when you get in a one-goal game. If you're going to rip a shot from the 30-yard line, you better have someone behind to back that ball up, or it's an easy turnover like it just was right there.
Trying to work the clear, and that's a turnover.
Texas goalie Rowdy Brown out of the net when the Longhorns are clearing the ball. It's a 10-man rod, not very conventional, but really effective. It's kind of a high-risk, high-reward, and it's clearly paying off for them pressure-wise.
I think when you get out to such a big lead, you're trying everything right now. This is your fun house and another score.
And that is a textbook draw and dump. Again, 25 in white, Jacob Jackson finishes the ball inside. A hard dodge. You think he's going to shoot from outside, dumps it low in the middle, and he finishes it. And that just shows great stick work. A lot of players struggle catching in traffic and finishing the ball, but great handle there and way to take care of the ball.
Yeah, we're going to give Jacob Jackson credit for that one and not number 26, yes. Ethan Alfonso. Ethan, wherever you are. that was for you, bud.
Well, you know, talking to assistant coach for University of Texas, Travis Mayer, before the game, he was saying that Jackson had a final today, and he actually had to travel outside of the team. Got here about 25 minutes before tip-off, and he's already got himself 2 buckets in about half that time.
You think they were sweating it a little bit. Jackson, he's pulling up a little late to the party.
You love to see the student athlete. Right, the student athlete.
He is that first for sure. High-tailing it, up 35.
A good possession here is what they need. You're down quite a few, but no sense of urgency. Lacrosse is a type of game where you can score multiple goals in under a minute. So to have a good possession, you don't need a turnover right now.
32 working his way back inside, and that's great defense by number 42, JT Powell. We just gave him some credit for that ground ball and setting the tone defensively. Number 13, Rendazzo with the pass inside, and Baylor finally, Mitchell Kennard with the score.
Yeah, great draw and dump again. Looking like you're going to rip it from outside. You step in, your defender leaves you, you're wide open in front of the cage. It's just about handling the ball and pressuring. He did a great job there to finish that ball. That's a great possession to keep you in this game.
Cool as you like on the crease right there. I would have not had that much touch of fake and finish, I don't think, with how much Texas is flying around at this point.
But that's great vision by number 13, Rendazzo, finding the open shooter, unselfish there. And I think going back to what you were talking about, Morgan, just the patience from Baylor on offense, and it pays off, and they get a score.
And vision's a great thing to talk about in the sport of lacrosse. It's so easy to get caught just dodging for yourself and so worried about getting cross-checked that you don't look up at what's right in front of you. Oftentimes, if you're going to ISO yourself on the sideline, someone's going to slide to you, and someone's going to be open.
And Monty Hashimi, number 7 for the Bears, he finds out immediately as the Texas defense sandwiches him in for the trail check. How patient is that? Easy pickings there for number 7. Another score, Sterling Hupp with the score for the Longhorns.
Yeah, number 7 in white. Comes hard across the cage. Fake, 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 fake. Finish. That's exactly what you want to see, though, right? Sometimes when you're on the doorstep, you'll get stuffed because you don't fake enough to get it around the goalie. He did a great job there, having that patience, realizing no one's collapsing on him, and finishing the ball.
Morgan, how hard is that when you're at the doorstep? I mean, you're at point-blank range, and all you want to do, I mean, I think it's just innate that you want to shoot, but you having to have the patience to wait.
It's power versus finesse. A lot of kids get caught up wanting to shoot so hard. You don't really need to shoot that hard when you're doorstep. All it takes is pinning it around the goalie, not so much speed on that shot.
And a possession and win at the face-off for the Bears, number 49.
Great double.
Working near the GLE, and that ball is racing across the field, finally able to corral the pass, and that's Gabe Orney. Slow down. Excuse me, that's number 6, Mark Brugner.
Baylor's gone to Connor Beasley, the faceoff X, for the last couple, and they've been able to make it a little bit more of a contest by putting that long pole on the faceoff X. Oh, another one inside.
Boy, that is a pretty pass, and Coy Hancock with the score.
Ball watching at its finest here, right? You sometimes get stuck watching the guy up top. Is he going to draw? Is he going to drive? Is he going to rip it? You got caught watching the ball up top, sneaks inside, and finishes it. That's a great offensive play and a great possession overall.
What do you think about the patience here for the Bears, knowing that they're down, not trying to get it all at once, but really just continuing to work their offense?
Yeah, I think it's really important because when you do get down a couple goals, your sense of urgency tends to spike. But like I said earlier, taking care of the ball, having that great possession, and the easy goals. You want the easy, pretty goals, and that's what you just saw right there. Not the forced ones that could have not gone in. We had a very easy, settled possession there for Baylor.
And Patrick, you talked about them changing out the faceoff. Connor Beasley there has gotten the win at the face-off the last couple of possessions. They get him for a procedure penalty, and now Texas takes over.
Yeah, defensively for Texas, I would like to see them be a little bit more aggressive, sliding a little bit sooner so he can't make that feed in the inside. Getting up in his hands. If you get up on him way sooner, he will not be able to feed that ball through the middle. A little bit more sense of urgency on the slides and getting a little bit more aggressive, which kind of shocks me because to start the game, it was pretty physical.
Well said.
Bringing the ball inbounds, trying to get it back topside, finding the guy, a little BTB action. Maurice Stein, come on now, highlight real stuff.
Yeah, number 8 in white. It's really important to talk about the shot of a behind the back. Okay, a lot of times people think, oh, it's a little showboaty, but it's not. If you have no angle and you're cutting across the cage and it is a worse shot to shoot overhand because the goalie's hugging that pipe, you shoot behind the back, you increase your angle so much more. And that's exactly what he did right there to make that shot. That's a fantastic shot.
Showboating just a little bit, though, right?
I don't know about that. I played attack, so I feel like I have a soft spot for it, okay?
Woo, boy, that was one that had some steam on it. Jacob Jackson not taking anything off of that shot.
Yeah, Jackson he's a tall and stature, very physical player, and I can only imagine that he's shooting well over 90 miles per hour. What do you guys think?
I think so. You got a vulcanized rubber object coming right at you.
Yeah.
Did a great job by the goalie of standing in the line of fire. Just continuing to press here in the first quarter.
Slowing the ball down, kind of dictating the pace of this game is what Texas needs to do to not allow Baylor to have those possessions like they've had, because they've pretty much scored at will.
Tucker George trying the spin move back inside, met by Connor Beasley. Whew, inside, that thing had some steam on it. That's my guy again, number 41, Jack Egan with the score.
Yeah, Jack Egan just straight down the middle, catching the ball, ripping it. It's one of those unsettled plays that kind of makes you shake your head as a coach over at Baylor, right? You know, you go hard for that ground ball, you don't come up with it, now you're out of position, you don't have numbers, and they made you pay.
And pay they did. Down at the X for the Bears is number 10, Daniel Lemus. They are changing the face-off out, trying to find someone, trying to get some rhythm here.
Texas using multiple face-off guys as well. That one there, Griffin Schaefer, Vandegrift High School. So Austin as well actually was at Bucknell, one of the handful of NCAA D1 transfers here at University of Texas.
Sterling Hupp working from behind the X, getting it back to number 25, Jackson.
Texas again allowing their face-off guys to stay in play. Definitely
Seaver Sasso pass to the middle, and he finds 25 in the alley, standing right at the crease.
Addy alert.
I think they did a great job there in the offensive set of shifting the rest of the Texas players over on the left-hand side of the field. He drug his defender over to create more angle for him to dodge with his right hand. Took a hit, but also was able to feed the ball through the middle. He definitely suffered on that play, but it ended up good for Texas on that end.
That a small sacrifice to make is what you're saying, Morgan.
Yes.
He did exactly that, but getting it inside to number 25 for the score, Jacob Jackson, again on fire here in the first quarter. And we are back down at the face-off, and a win by number 16, Russell Okupski. Ground ball taken, numbers for the Longhorns, and that's a shot by Jacob Jackson and a hustle to the end line.
It's a great hustle play to the end line. You really would have thought the goalie would have came away with that one, but didn't even see him coming out of anywhere.
Boy, caught him again. This guy, and I'm sure that is the hat trick for number 25, Jacob Jackson. That's actually 4, excuse me.
Numbers on the backside there. Everyone out of position, out of that end line run out. Texas comes away with that ball. That's why those hustle plays are so important. When you end line run out and come away with that win on that end line, and then you kick it through the opposite way, the defense is trying to shift, trying to figure out who they're marked up on, and it leaves him wide open for the easy shot.
10-2 here in the first quarter, and things are just rolling right now. And I think as a coach, Morgan, do you take a timeout here if you're the Bears? I mean, you want to talk about what's going on here.
I would have taken one already just to stop the momentum, regroup. And sometimes when you regroup on both sides, it can be beneficial.
Dangerous play right here, number 10, Griffith Schaefer. Coming away with the ground ball is number 1, Ethan Warfield. Another possession here by the Bears, and boy, nothing easy for these guys on the clear as Parker Ailes pressuring on the far side. Jacob Jackson now working it back behind X with number 7, Sterling Hupp. Up directing traffic. Substitutions being made. Jack Egan back in the game. Working to the crease. He finds Jacob Jackson. Point blank range, and he misses. The degree of difficulty just wasn't there for number 25 in that score.
2 minutes, 2 minutes.
Definitely an interesting move. Jackson's a left-handed player. Had it on one hand and his right to try to have to jump up and get that. Almost, a la Odell Beckham Jr.
Monty Ashimi trying to call his own number in a shot that goes wide left.
It's definitely a tough cut as a lefty coming across with your right hand. But I think what you can see is they're really trying to isolate the dodge from up top and be able to force feed the middle. That's what Texas is having a lot of success doing so far.
Boy, a bit of a scrum right there in front of the crease, and God, Baylor's goalie has got to be saying to his guys, hurry up and get the possession, and not in time, as that is another score for the Longhorns.
Just a simple fake high, shoot low. It's great placement there, but again, if you can't come up with a ground ball, eventually a team's going to make you pay, and that's what's happening here. It's garbage goals, I would say, is what we call that. But nonetheless, a goal is a goal, and if you don't come up with those easy ground balls, they will make you pay. Texas has a lot of skill, stick skill. I mean, looking at Jacob Jackson, especially, his ability to fake and finish in traffic is pretty amazing, and you can just tell his confidence that he has in his stick work.
And that was Maury Stein with the last score, but you're absolutely right. Number 25 is cooking with gas. You know it when you see it. A guy's just on another level, the way that he scores, and number 25 is that. Talk about his size and the velocity on a lot of those shots that's coming off of the head of his sticks. It makes him different as a player. Oh, God. I think you want to try and get a guy in front of him, though, also, right?
The issue right now is they're dodging hard from up top, creating that slide, and he's stepping in. He's doing his job right now. You know when they always say as a coach, do your job? His job is to step in when he's open, and he's really taking advantage of it. Now, if I'm Baylor defensively, I'm putting more pressure on him. I'm maybe not setting that slide so early. If you notice when he's dodging down the alley, but doesn't have a lot of angle to shoot. So I would ask him to take that shot. I'd rather not send the slide, keep somebody on him, and make him shoot that no-angle shot.
Morgan Alexander with a little Bill Belichick, do your job.
It's so essential, though, right? Like I tell my kids that I coach this all the time. If you do your job and you do it well, we will have success. Don't worry about everybody else's job. Just worry about yours.
Well, I tell you what, that's an easy job. If you're number 25, the way that he's cutting and the way that he is getting scores, they got to find somebody to get on this guy.
Come on, Treem.
How about that?
Ethan
For
Treem out of the Woodlands, Texas.
The Bears, number 19. You know him well, Ethan Treem.
Yeah, Ethan Treem out of the Woodland, Texas. It's not a matter of if, but when. A little bit, confident in the clearing game, if you can say so.
He called his own number. He was not looking left or right. He was going to take that.
He even gave the fake. Hey, I might give it to you, but I'm going to keep it myself. But, hey, if you have that skill as an LSM, go for it. Go for it.
Back down at the X. Another victory and another possession. Don't want to call it too soon. There it is for UT. Time of possession starting to add up for the guys in orange and white. Jacob Jackson, number 7. Sterling Hupp hustling for the loose ball. Number 25 has it. Find him on the backside, working in close as the clock runs down. Another score for Morristown.
Again, numbers. Everyone on defense or Baylor trying to find somebody on the scramble. They skip the ball low, find the wide open person in those numbers who makes a great dodge and finishes it. It's just the unorganization of the Baylor defense when the ball is moving in the air that's costing them. You want to find those numbers backside, and Texas right now is doing a great job of that. And I can tell you why, though. It's their skill level. They can catch and throw on the move, and that'll make teams pay if you can't shift defensively.
And that is exactly what they have done here in the first quarter, making the Bears pay. Slow feet don't eat, Patrick, and you've seen the Baylor Bears taken advantage of here in the first quarter, down by 10.
Yeah, they definitely raised their physicality as this game has gone on, which was definitely necessary with what was going on to start. But, I mean, Texas is just doing, I think every youth coach in America would be pleased to see how Texas is moving the ball out of a ground ball off the ground. I mean, obviously, when you have scores like Jackson and Hupp on the side of the offense, you can really get away with a lot. I mean, they're zinging the ball across, and every other time they're catching it and probably getting to the middle and finishing. So it's a pretty good equation for success.
Game On would like to thank one of our sponsors for this weekend's games, Next Gen Audio Video. They've been serving North Texas since 2010 with services that include home theater design and installation. You'll have peace of mind knowing that all of your AV needs are in the hands of people who care. Check them out at nextgenaudiovideo.com. And shouts out to our sponsors for the LSA tournament. Harrison alongside Patrick Franklin and the one and only Morgan Alexander. It's going to be a long weekend. We will say gold a lot.
Yes, we will.
Okay? You just just all of your sports analogies. If you run out, that's okay. Refurbish, rehash them. Just come on. All right? Just bring them out. You can only say slide in defense so many times, right?
That's absolutely right. I think the shot clock era has definitely made this game a more high-scoring one, but I think it's one that's also, sorry for saying this, goalies, it's one that's a lot more palatable for the fans, getting to see the game up and down and having more possessions and more opportunities to score.
I don't know how palatable this game is if you are a Baylor Bear, though, because, man, Texas has taken it to you. Everybody's wondering if there's any team that is here this weekend that can dethrone these guys. It's going to take a Herculean effort to do it. Is there anyone that you can think of, Morgan, who comes to top of mind that could get the job done?
You know, after watching a lot of these teams play, I think one of the things that Texas has is discipline. And I know that sounds very cliche, but especially at this level, it's hard to find a group of guys that are all on the same page and are all bought into the same purpose. And I think with the coaching set that they have and the culture they put in, that's what's really going to allow them to have success here. And to be honest with you, there is a lot of great coaches, and I know Texas A&M is coached by a former Cornell player, and maybe they can have that little edge coming off a win over SMU. But right now, I mean, watching the skill level with Texas, they really put on a show here.
If Coach Hartzell is your coach, I mean, it's probably the same thing for your girls also. They listen to you because they know you've been there and you've done that. How much does that experience weigh with players?
Yeah, I mean, when I heard that Kyle Hartzell was the head coach here, I was like, wow, because he's one of the best to ever have played. And I remember growing up as a kid, I watched him play a lot. I was a big fan of the men's game. I watched him play a lot, and he could be coaching at any Division I school in the country, and he's doing it here and growing a program, and you can see the immediate success that he's had. And I think it just comes down to the kids buying in. Hey, if he says it, he must know, because he's, reigning Defensive Player of the Year, Team USA, Defensive MVP, two-time national champion. I mean, the list goes on. And I think when you have someone of that caliber, it's easy to buy in.
If you've been following Texas lacrosse all season, the only team that even played them close was Clemson at a neutral site. They played at SMU, and that game was 15-12. Those other games, if you look on their schedule, they're blowing teams out, 25-20. I mean, running clock games, basically, because of the way that these guys are playing. And that's why I posed a question to you guys. Can they get it? Seriously? They got it done the best way you know how. And maybe that's a little bit of what you were talking about, taking that risk there, and your goalie's out of the cage.
Yeah, I mean, so Texas is doing a good job. I mean, they're running a 10-man ride, and what that means is the goalie, the 10th man, is coming out and he's guarding one of the lower attackmen on the offensive side of the ball, and that allows him to push one of their defensemen up into the middle and create this kind of like Ed Reed backer zone in the middle of the field. But usually a key ingredient of that is something that Morgan mentioned earlier, ball pressure, right? I mean, the goalie's right in the middle of the field and has his hands free. You'd think he's probably going to be able to make that clearing pass to a shot because there wasn't enough ball pressure in that case.
Nonetheless, it pays off for the Bears as they get another score here in the second quarter. But I was just talking about the domination of Texas so far this season. They have been rolling through squads.
Look at the triple team here, the physicality. They're realizing, hey, this guy has no one to pass to, adjacents are shut, let's double team him. That's a turnover.
Turnover created inside, and this guy is just holding the stick with one hand.
One-handed.
Okay, come on now, what are we doing? Jacob Jackson is...
He's been wanting that all game. Yeah, number 25 in white, Jacob Jackson cuts through the middle, a natural lefty, finishes one-handed with his right hand. Again, skill. It's not something that just happens. Skill is developed in your backyard, and it's very clear he's putting the work on his own. Athleticism is something you can't really, you can't teach that as a coach, but you can teach skill, and it's very evident he puts in the work on his own on top of his overall athleticism. I mean, look at his stature.
Yeah, that's so. If the BTB wasn't showing out, I think that was right there. That's certified popping the willie out here on the field.
Yeah.
Jacob Jackson on fire. Another clear. Parker Ells, boy, being hassled. And we see our first flag come out here. Pretty cleanly played game.
It's a push in the back. Tough one there, right? You're being physical, but there's no sense in adding that extra push at the end. He's already behind the net. Just let him go. And that's what's so tough when you get involved in this game at a high physical level. When you feel like you might have a play there is when you might extend an extra too much, and it's going to cause him to be man down here.
And Morgan, Jeffrey Graham is probably saying, easy for you to say, you're not out here getting one-handed
right.
to death.
Yeah.
Now, first man-up opportunity for UT if they ever needed anything else to go good for them, to go in their favor. Now they have a man-up opportunity here.
And a lot of great shooters from outside. So look for them to spread out, keep somebody in the middle to keep the defense honest. Another behind-the-back pass. You could just tell the skill. I love to see that. That's my favorite type of lacrosse. Kids that just play in their backyard, and you can tell. It's a great save. Little high to high. You're going to shoot that. I'd probably shoot that low. Find a better angle. You are man up. Move the ball a little bit faster. Check middle a little bit.
Boy, for Nick Ledeski, he's standing right in the line of fire. And I tell you, he appreciated another empty goal and score there, Patrick.
Yeah, Conard got his second there. They're sticking to their guns, and maybe coaching is a great time to practice something that's a little bit part of their identity when you know you're not necessarily as tight within the game, with it being 16-4 now.
You know, that ride works either really well or it's easily exposed. It's one of those plays where you're like, yes, or we gotta switch it up. It's a tough thing to watch, but I like the aggressive ride. I'd probably still stay in it. I think they've had a lot of success so far. But again, getting pressure. You have to get pressure, or else they're easily going to make you pay on that.
A procedure penalty there. Is that the third?
Yeah. So that was a third penalty on the Baylor Bears, which would give UT a 30-second man up for a procedure call. See if they go back to this 3-3. They were doing good on the ball movement there. But poor finishing.
Staying spread out even more, and to keep that defense honest, like I said, keeping someone in the middle so that they have to check middle and check outside.
Oh, errant pass. All for naught. Possession going the other way. Now an opportunity for the Bears to burn the penalty.
A skip pass, again, one of those plays can either be great or make you pay. I'm a firm believer in make the easy pass. Maybe that's just me being super, I don't know what the word is, safe. But I would make the easy pass before I would throw it through two people.
I was going to say coachy.
Yeah, I guess you could call
Super
that coachy. It's great when you make it, but if you don't like that, then you're really shaking your head. You're like, oh, man, that went straight out of bounds, But again, the backside is open. Man up, right? It is open. But how you get it there is the next question.
Got a yard sale. Noah Bray loses his stick, picks it up quickly. Nick Ledeski has been peppered with shots here in this first half. Oh, wow. What a pass inside by Maury Stein to Jacob Jackson. Oh, 6 goals for number 25. That's what you call pouring in the pudding right there, boy. Number 25 is putting in the work.
Yeah, again, number 25 in white, Jacob Jackson. Just a great off-ball player. He's a smart player. He understands when the ball's moving, where to be, and when to start his cut and time it right so that he has a great angle. And even when he doesn't, he finds a way to extend his stick. We talk about that a lot in lacrosse, is if you don't have a good angle, how do you make a good angle? Well, shooting backhand like he just did.
And I guess the other thing is when you have numbers, Morgan, and you understand that you have a team completely off guard and you have position and you could get the score, how hard is that for a guy like Jacob Jackson not to be in a rush, basically, to get in scoring position and kind of tip the hat for the defense?
A lot of that's just practice in lacrosse IQ, and lacrosse IQ is something that kind of goes unnoticed sometimes. You can't teach it. It's watching the game, being a student of the game, and you can obviously tell he's done that. A lot of players, I feel like, especially newer players, they want to catch, run, shoot. I always say that, It's what you're doing off ball and the timing of it, not just what you're doing. When you're starting that cut, that's super important. And you can just tell he is a student of the game and also is putting a lot of work in his backyard. Those shots that he's making are college, like a Syracuse-level shot, a Duke-level shot. Those are tough shots to make, and he's making it look pretty easy here today.
Working it right and close, and they catch Nick Ledeski out of the goal. Number 45, Brad Wittenberg with the score.
Yeah, it's a great low to high. If you watch on that step, he dips his shoulder just a little bit low and his follow through is high, which makes the goalie think he's going low, but then pins over his head. It's a great shot, a tough one to make. But again, going back to skill level and practicing your shot and nailing down where you want to shoot, when you shoot, you can definitely tell he's putting the work there.
So you see substitutions being made here for the Longhorns. A lot of depth on their end, man. guys could probably put a whole 2 teams together. See the 1v1 behind the back pass. That wasn't the easy pass there, Morgan, as you pointed out.
Well, it's the right pass. You know, numbers were backside. It's great that he felt the pressure on his top side and knew that it had to go back to where it came from. Typically, as a coach, you don't want to keep putting the ball back where it came from. But if you feel the pressure on your top side, yeah, put it there.
It's a shot attempt by number 7, Sterling Hupp. Another save by Nick Ledeski.
It's another thing that, you know, number 45, or excuse me, 25, Jacob Jackson does a great job is feeling where the pressure is coming from. I think he does a great job of realizing when the defenders are on his top side and, okay, now I can shoot behind the back because they're positioned here. He has a great awareness as a dodger and as a cutter of where the defense is coming from.
You see Teddy Lisa, number 36, on the far side. Setting up the offense now, the rotation coming.
Looking for an ISO. They're wanting them to leave early to step inside. And that's a great adjustment, right? They trusted that one-on-one matchup with number 13 out there. They let him go with it.
Trying to find the cutter, as you mentioned before, number 25, working his way to the crease. Tried another BTB that goes over the top of the cage as Sterling Hupp brings the ball in from the end line. Trying to work and get his hands free, doesn't get it quick enough to take the shot attempt, gets it back to number 36, Teddy Lisa.
Great save. High to high. You know, it's not a bad look there. Still 40 seconds left in the shot clock. Maybe burn another 20. It's easy when it's not easy. It's hard when you start to get up by a lot because you feel that confidence. You want to go, go, go. But the last thing you want to do is let them come back in this game.
That's it. As the penalty flag is thrown on number 16, Russell Okupski. Russell just throws his stick up.
Can't do that. Can't do that. There was I don't know if it was last year or the year before, they were playing the MCLA championship, and a goalie from Georgia Tech was similar situation, got caught out and tried to throw it up. And that was actually the first time I'd ever seen something like that. But
there you go. Russell Okupski says, never say never. You see it again.
The ride for the Longhorns starting to take root a little bit. I think there's about 4 or 5 in a row where they've been able to stop Baylor and kind of tilt this field to a one-side affair.
Now, for both of you guys as coaches, when you're in a situation where you're completely blowing the doors off of another team, I guess the one thing that you don't want to see is your team get raggedy and undisciplined. Mm-hmm. How do you prevent that?
It's constant communication with your kids. It's doing the right things. We're not going to start pulling things out that we've never done all season. You're going to play a lot of good teams. Let's master. You'll never master anything in the sport of lacrosse. You can always get better. So every rep you have out here is a chance to get better at the things, at the plays that you are given. So that's the biggest advice I always have to my kids is we're going to master. Even if we're up by 15, it doesn't matter.
Let's continue to play, be disciplined. And you see Texas trying different things here against a team that obviously they feel like they are much better than. And this is Coach Hartzell also giving some opportunity to some guys deep on his bench as he's starting to make some substitutions.
Yeah, I think that's something you need to see. Oh, that was a nice take right there. Was that
19?
Max Egan?
Yeah. Egan working his way back inside, far side, near side post.
Got tired of watching his brother do all the work.
Yeah, right.
One of his
That's
own,
what you got to do.
Which is a common affair.
And that's a great cut down the middle, realizing that everyone's ball watching and just putting your stick out the middle. Being a taller guy in a bigger frame, it's easier to see as an attacker feeding that ball. That's a great finish. I think one of the biggest things we talked about before the game too is the ability of Texas to be disciplined. I think as a viewer in this game, if you're watching this game, the time of possession is extremely lopsided. Texas has had the ball a lot more. And I think if Baylor, when they had the ball, would have taken a longer time and gotten through the shot clock a little bit, it wouldn't feel so lopsided right now.
you know, realistically speaking, Texas has won a lot of the faceoffs, but at the end of the day, you know, the run and gun just does not work against high-powered offenses. It will never work, and I think that's something Kyle Hartzell brings to the table is his abilities from playing in Baltimore, playing it on the East Coast. A lot of East Coast teams play a slower style of lacrosse of, you know, great offensive possessions. A lot of Southern teams, from my experience, love to run and gun. They love it more than anything. And for me, I'm one of the only, my programs are one of the only ones that slow the ball down quite a bit. And I think you will find success when you have a high-powered offense in slowing the ball down. Because if you can make that defense have to work and not have unforced turnovers, you're going to have a lot more success. And that's exactly what Texas does. They're just so disciplined.
Yeah, it's really well said, and I think it's indicative of the game. You know, when you're on the East Coast and you're playing really good opponents, the margin for error is razor thin. So each possession in its own right is critical. Whereas I think, especially at the Texas high school level where we both coach, you know you're going to get the ball back pretty frequently because of the decision making being a little bit lower, the skill level being a little bit lower. With some teams practicing 10 hours a week. That's probably pretty good if you're probably a public program in the state of Texas. So.
But there are a lot of great things that Baylor is bringing to the table here. Their aggressiveness, their ability to make them pay on that ride. Those are tough shots. They're shooting, 60 yards and making those shots. So there is a lot there and a lot to be said for that. I would just love to see them in a slowed down offensive possession.
I was thinking that was a Hail Mary, Morgan. A lot of skill level associated with that. Is here we are in the final minutes.
But watch what they're doing. They have people hanging out in the inside because they know Baylor's been sending an early slide. And Baylor's doing a lot better job in the second quarter of not sending that slide because they want to make them honest, make them shoot that shot with no angle. And we talked about that earlier. That's where they're defensively going to have success. Don't send the early slide.
Looked like the Bears were going to get the clear and continuously putting that pressure on these guys for the turnover.
Ledecky says, I want to come out of the cage too, and stops a pretty critical
He does
goal
exactly
there.
that, doesn't he?
Treem with the ball coming downfield again.
I thought he was going to call his own number once and again. He thinks better of it, maybe listening to Morgan about slowing it down and getting a good possession.
But again, that's a great lacrosse IQ play. He had that alley if he wanted it, but he realized it's probably not the shot we're looking for. If it goes in, we're all happy. If it doesn't, we're back on D again.
Ethan Treem out of the Woodlands, Texas, coached up by probably one of the greatest, legends, certainly of Houston, Texas, but probably the state. Keith Tinnell, 2018 state champion. So he's been well coached by one of the best.
Yeah, Woodlands has had quite a few stellar players come through there to coach that program. Anthony DeMeo being there now, and they're definitely developing as a program because of that.
Trying to work behind the X, and that's Gabe Warney. Another turnover, possession going back to the Longhorns. And the before-mentioned number 19, Ethan Trim, with the ground ball, earning another possession for the Bears.
Longhorns really speeding them up again in that first. It's almost like the first 15 seconds of every possession. They're really trying to blitz them and make them make those rush decisions, kind of get them into that mode where they need to score early or get forced into one of those kind of half-chance moments. Smart of them to slow it down here and get some controlled offense.
But they're not looking to slide super early defensively if you watch.
Randazzo with the shot attempt on goal.
2 minutes left in play here. Super important going into halftime is who's going to have the possession here to maybe catch up a couple of goals here.
All right, worked it in close. Coy Hancock standing on the porch and cannot manufacture points. Great way to work that clear by Texas. The Bears trying to apply some pressure, but just easy 1, 2, 3 clear.
You can see now that Texas has worked in their substitutions as the entire first line attack group is now out, which is critical for a tournament like this one. I think it's pretty unique. LSA opting to play all 3 rounds of their playoff structure 3 days back-to-back. It's definitely a gauntlet. You need to have numbers in this kind of a tournament.
And Texas does, and you have your guys like Jacob Jackson now with his helmet off. You can tell maybe his day is over with. That's just a half of lacrosse for him. He'll be fresh and ready to play tomorrow. This Division I matchup gets things started here. Not only on this field, we have another field adjacent to us as a game is going on that field as well.
TCU taking on Oklahoma.
OU, and tell you what, that's a big matchup. Mark Purcell was the former coach at TCU, so they say familiarity breeds contentment. I can't see what's going on over there, but I'm sure it's chippy already.
Well, and you know that the winner of that game is going to go on to play the winner of this game, so going to be exciting for that one.
Do you really want to play that game? Do you really?
You had asked it earlier, and I think for me, TCU, although they have to get through a good OU squad, TCU seems like a squad that could really have an opportunity against the University of Texas. I know it's early in the season, but a 2-goal game, first game of the year, and they do have the athletes.
Yeah, and I watched TCU play earlier this year against SMU, and it's important to note that they're also coached by a former Division I player at Ohio State and also Hobart, Jason Knox, playing professionally. That expertise, his Canadian box-style play that he has brought to that program is definitely noticed. They're a very disciplined team also and take care of the ball and have great possessions, and I think they're going to slow down the game if they do match up, and that's going to be really cool to watch.
Yeah, we're going to make wagers after this. I love what you guys are saying. I think you guys are all on board. That is it's like the end of the first half, 19-4. Texas has been rolling. Before we go to half, I want to give a special shout out and thanks to Big Bad Carts. Game On Sports would like to thank one of our sponsors for the weekend, Big Bad Carts. They do custom golf carts with the best parts in the industry has to offer, from mild to wild. They can do it all. Their offices is in Salina, Texas. Check them out at bigbadcarts.com. These guys take a break for the half, and it is 11-3. On the other field right now, streaming live on Game On Sports. Boy, ton of action going on this weekend. We're going to take a break for halftime and return as play resumes here on Game On Sports.
Long lacrosse in Louisiana, huh? Tomorrow I do have to
early.
At least y'all pre-taped that interview
All right.
tomorrow.
You know what he says to that? He says,
Man. Is there any? It's
on his phone.
is it?
Yeah.
That would be fun. No, loosen them up.
that's good.
Okay, good, good.
LSU versus Kansas next. These are long teams.
Yeah, but the LSU kids.
That's A&M. That looks like Missouri. LSU was over here for a minute.
Might have switched the fields.
11-3, sorry. Same.
And we're gonna go 15-minute run.
I love it.
Hell yeah. I try to get him to go down to 12 for me. I got a little swirly at that point.
Really?
You're not playing full game?
They're trying to see 30. You're not trying to see 40 points scored.
I'll say 30. You might see 30.
Yeah.
You might see 30.
I always say people that short. They're going to score.
They already put 30.
Barely do that. They're going to score too, right?
Yep.
Tom, we're good.
Ready? Play on white. Yeah. Too many men on the field. Let's go. 7. I can tell if you want to. Left in the building.
Water. Here, look there. Did you bring something? Yeah, look at his face. He's mad. Let's go,
Back in action here at the Z-Plex. Ekma Harrison alongside Morgan Alexander and Patrick Franklin. Guys, this is a game in which the Longhorns have just continued to dominate and roll. Seeing substitutions be made on both sides. Now we see one made in between the cages for the Longhorns. That is another save and a clear. Luke Melcher working in close and another shot attempt. Ledeski still staying in between the pipes for the Bears. That shot attempt was by number 39, Hank Chapman.
I think something you see Texas do a lot is push the ball in transition, something that their head coach did a great job of as a player. He had the record for most 2-pointers in a season by defensemen in the PLL, and that's something to take note of. He likes to push it in transition himself, so why not let these guys?
There's a nice little action there. A little pick on the wing there, pushed it through X, then went back the way the ball came from, which is kind of uncommon, but successful. Just seeing Barry one.
Finding the back of the net is Seaver Sasso with the score. And Morgan, I can tell you are a Kyle Hartzell fan. You know PLL stats and everything. I'm impressed.
I do my research. You know, it's when you have a player of that caliber coaching a team, it's always great to see the resemblance of what he did and what they do. You know, I think that's so cool and something that doesn't get talked about enough. I think I played for one of the best players, of all time, Gary Gate, one of the best in the game. And he pushed creativity, and that's who he was as a player, and we all started to play like that because of him. So ever since I had that influence as a college player, I think it's really cool to see what these other coaches that played at that high of a level do with their own personnel.
And Morgan, really, I want to go back to something you were saying really in the first half, talking about the difference geographically of the way that lacrosse is played, knowing that he's a guy from up north, that obviously the style of play is different from the way that they play in the South. That is something that probably is going to lead this team to be champions, not at the LSA level, but also above that.
Yes,
definitely. I mean, because the level of competition doesn't do anything but increase as you go higher in this playoff bracket.
Yeah, and I think it takes time to build a culture. You can't expect results in just 1 year, but I think 1 or 2 years. But I think what he's done in general has been almost insane. You know, last year they won, and look at them this year. They're pretty much winning at ease this season, and I think it'll continue to go that way, because once you start having success, people want to come play for a program with success, and that's how you build a championship pedigree team. And
you see that pedigree there, and with a coach like Kyle Hartzell really starting to put his imprint on this team. As a flag comes out on the far side, the Bears have got to be asking, what do we have to do? These guys are all over us. We're just trying to answer here.
Yeah, don't want to speculate too much, but I think probably a push with possession. Got to the middle there, a lot of contact.
And as a coach, you see them, here's a man-up situation for the University of Texas. And what does Hartzell do? He puts his starting lineup back in to keep that execution sharp.
Yes, these are reps. These are full speed. Something you can't also teach is gameplay. You can't teach that. It's something that you got to get out there and you have to do it. You can play against each other so much in practice, but it's a different look when you play different teams. So no matter how bad you're beating a team, every rep is super important. It's a chance to dial it in and execute. And if you can start executing now consistently, that consistency will transfer over against no matter what team you play.
Man-up opportunity here for the University of Texas. I think the penalty is going to go against number 1, Ethan Warfield.
And keep an eye out here defensively for Baylor. They're going to keep somebody in the middle, Texas is. They want to make sure that defense stays honest, because a lot of times in man-up, people shoot from outside. But they want to put somebody in the middle so that they have to guard him.
I think they've been burned so many times in the middle of that defense, so maybe they've learned from that last man-down situation.
It's the soft cutters through the middle.
Nick Ledecky just waiting in front, trying to keep eyes on number 25, Jacob Jackson.
Just no angle there. It was great ball movement, but you have to realize if you catch the ball low in the corner like that, you don't have a good look on cage.
Working it back inside, Nick Ledecky still with another save as they burn that penalty. Great job by the Bears.
And I also think it's smart that he is putting in his starting lineup for these man-up, because I think that they have pretty much been, 0 for 3 in their man-up possessions so far, and that's something that maybe he sees as a weak point for them, that they need to dial it in. They need these reps. You can't get so many reps in a game for man-up. You're hoping that that doesn't happen if you're the other team. So when you do have those, you want to make sure you're executing and running the plays that you design in practice. And, like I said, you can play against your own team and practice it, but there's something to be said when you play against another team and you feel that success against somebody that's not, your typical day-to-day teammate.
Jack Egan, number 41, in, and that is a shot that Nick Ledecky can't do anything with. High to low, 5-hole it, and another score.
It's a great alley dodge there. He did a good job of dragging his defender over almost to the middle of the cage so that his first step with his left foot back to his right created more angle on that shot. When you're an alley dodger like that, you have to almost what I call drag him and leave him. You want to drag him over to one side so you can create more angle for your shot. And I think they do a great job of that offensively here. Something that you can tell they definitely work on for their alley dodges. And again, shooting high to low there, that's a great shot to finish.
Drag them and leave them. That's college dating advice. By Morgan Alexander, not lacrosse. Drag them and leave them.
Drag him and leave him.
I think that's a Jack Kensel training quote right there.
Wes Gilbert with the win at the X. Another one of these possessions is adding up as you see these guys are not allowing an easy ride here for the Bears. Come on, when do you take your foot off of their throat?
It's simple, you don't.
You don't.
It's hard to tell these guys that haven't gotten
coming.
that time to say, hey, you haven't been playing a significant amount. You come out here and not have energy. I mean, if you're a backup goalie or a backup defender, you got a coach like Kyle Hartzell that is a guy that will love you flying around and making plays. As long as you're doing it 100%, it's a good way to be.
And as a coach, you're always looking at the best 12 players. Well, for boys, it's a little different. Sorry, for girls. But I'm always looking, I know, I want the best players out there, and that's the best players that week. So if you come out here and show something that maybe he hasn't seen, now he might say, oh, wait, maybe you could step into that starting lineup. It's a chance for you to show I can compete at this level, which is just super important to keep that encouragement.
Quick catch and release. Another score on the far side for number 33, Wes Gilbert. Wins at the faceoff. And now the bouncer or the roller by Nick Ledecky. Nothing he can do about that. And I do believe that's 20 points scored now for the University of Texas, 20-5.
They're just so dominant offensively, and I keep saying this, but it's super important, is the skill level. And I think that that's what makes great teams great. You can be as athletic as you want, but if you can't throw and catch and finish through traffic and spin the ball quickly, athleticism is only going to take you between the 30s.
Man, what an impact this guy, Kyle Hartzell, has had on this team. And you talk about the skill level. You could see these guys just upping the ante each and every year. Been there now, I believe it's his third year as a coach at the University of Texas. You started to see it, obviously, his first year. Second year, these guys winning the LSA. But this year, man, it is apparent. His imprint is on this team. The skill level, stick level for these guys are incredible. But the execution is next level.
You don't really see that consistency of a coaching staff at the MCLA level. All 4 coaches from the University of Texas program have been there all 3 years, whether it's Travis Main or there are 2 other assistant coaches in John King and Riley Derby, who are both alumni of the 2019 University of Texas team. So a lot of continuity there.
That's great for a program to have the same person come back consistently. You're developing that culture that I talked about earlier, and just the ability to have teams buy into a system, because every coach has a different system, and I'm only assuming based off the way he used to play that it's a very disciplined, organized system that he's running here.
Number 19, Ethan Trim, working through the trees right there. You see him still keeping that ball on the head of that long pole, and a score by Mitchell Kennard working into the crease.
A great transition goal, pushing the ball out, getting that extra step on them and finishing that ball. Just being a little bit more aggressive. Sometimes when you're playing so much offense and it finally goes the other way, you kind of find yourself a little bit, maybe 2-3 steps behind. Just knowing you turn the ball over, you've got to get back in and make a play. But again, recognizing that for Baylor, you know, when you're down by so much, it's easy to just sit there and kind of be like, well, this game's over. But I don't feel that in this game. There's a lot of times where a team's crushing a team and you kind of just feel that vibe when you're out here. I don't feel that. I feel the same level of intensity since the start into now.
Another win at the X for UT. They have dominated time of possession offensively. Trail check attempt by Trim, and number 44 with a pass inside. How did Nick Ledeski not get scored on there? Well, number 25, he has obviously pulled out an extra stick in order to get that save.
I didn't have pole going behind the back on my bingo card for
Yeah,
the
that wasn't
game.
it?
No.
There's 2 minutes left here in the third quarter. Dodge to the middle of the field, and number 19 comes away with it. Finally, a possession here for the Bears. They've been under so much pressure the entire game trying to work for these clears. One thing that has not stopped is this relenting. These guys are all over them defensively. Giuseppe Rendazzo's pass is intercepted by number 27, Nico Triant. Make sure you don't go anywhere. After this game, we have more Division I lacrosse coming your way at the 8 o'clock slot. Morgan, you're going to be here for the whole thing, so don't you even try.
Yeah, I'll be here.
Working inside, Nick Ledeski just.
It's a great save, but also a great cut across crease. Realizing no one's on me behind and cutting full speed.
30 seconds, 30 seconds.
Ledeski just uses every bit of himself to get that save, no matter what he has to do.
I mean, he's had a great game. We can't knock that. I mean, when you're getting point-blank shots on you to at least save 6 or 7 of them, that's pretty good in my eyes.
Working their way back across the alley. Another shot attempt. And that is the end of the third quarter. One more quarter of action left here in Melissa. They take a break for the end of the third. We'll do the same and be right back as play resumes here on Game On Sports. Both teams making their way back onto the field for the fourth quarter. Heckma Harrison alongside Patrick Franklin. That's it. We are kidding.
That's great. You love to hear it.
As we're getting feedback on how.
We're getting great feedback on this broadcast. We love to hear it. We love to hear it.
It's all you, Morgan. It's all you carrying us.
No.
Still working this offense. Doing a great job.
Texas went a little bit early, got a little bit too eager out of the sub box. Tom Fitzsimmons, the trail official on that last play, administering that, a Texas lacrosse officiating legend.
Fitzsimmons in his contract, he just goes 40 to 40, okay? That's it, 40 to 40. Talk about a legend, icon.
Is this the first man up of the day for the Baylor Bears?
It is.
Again, they're doing the same type of thing, spreading out, keeping someone in the middle to keep that defense honest and make them have to press out. You're looking for them to leave the middle, maybe force a pass into the middle if you can here. If not, let's look for a good shooter outside to finish that ball.
Rendazzo one-on-one. That's a shot attempt that goes over the top of the cage. Thank God for that net because it was headed straight for the parking lot. You're parked somewhere over there, Morgan,
yeah,
and I'm telling you.
To think that.
You may want to move your car.
Also, one thing I want to note that's super important about end line runouts is a lot of people get confused. They'll say, oh, that should have been Texas ball. He was closest to the end line. It's not closest to the end line. It's closest to where the ball went out. That's super important to reiterate because people get very angry at that call. And it's where the ball went out, and Baylor was closer there. That's a great hustle play by the Texas goalie to at least get in a position where he's almost there.
So basically the angle that you take to the end line maybe will get you awarded the possession. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, correct. If you're closer to where the ball went out, not just the end line.
I'm one of those people. I get frustrated at that all the time. So thank you for explaining that.
You'd be shocked how many people try to ask me that question. I'm like, you weren't closest to where the ball went out.
It's unique to the game of lacrosse. You don't have that anywhere really else in sports. So
that's why I like to reiterate some things for people that are watching that don't typically watch and maybe have questions. It's great to just kind of throw some nuggets out there. But for those of you that do watch, you're like, come on, we know that.
Wes Gilbert working on the far side. What an entry pass to number 6. Oh. Masiek, how does he not get the score right there? He's point blank, and he had an opportunity.
I think it's just a little tight. Got that elbow a little bit too far through. Oh, nice over the head check there. A little, you know, they call that one the ding-dong check. Because it's like a clock going up and right back down in the same direction.
Great ride here.
The 44 calling his own number. He was not going to pass. I'm going to take 3 guys with me. Caleb, Evie. Abby says, I'm getting this score. I don't care what you say.
Yeah, number 44 in white. Just not taking no for an answer there. Powering his way through, tall in stature, ability to carry the ball with him while taking pressure. That's something that's actually a lot harder to do than you would think. It's a great take.
I think they're starting to have side bets over here on the Longhorn sideline. That's another lefty, you know, is a la Jacob Jackson with that one-handed righty dunk.
I like it. I got the ding-dong check, and what was the drag him? Was it drag him
and leave him?
Drag him and leave him?
When you're a Dodger.
Okay. It's all coming together.
Lacrosse doesn't have a shortage of
great save.
Novelty phrases.
Working for the loose ball is the Bears, and no such luck. Texas with another possession. Coach Harsel just emptying the bench. Guys getting opportunity here, and maybe indicative of this play that you're seeing out here on the field.
Coach Mayer laying into some of his, guys getting a little bit too eager in the box here.
That's the one thing that you love about being on this sideline, man. You can hear everything. Maybe we have to cut the mics off a little bit for us, a little bit of the talk, but just getting in close and hearing some of the back conversations.
It's another great save. High to high, far out. Ball was moving pretty fast, but I think he read that the whole way.
Somebody want the ball.
Again, though, I love Texas' ability to spin the ball through X while dodging at a full speed pace.
Nick Ledeski, what was he thinking there? Trying to get the clear, and the pass doesn't work. Another possession for the Longhorns.
I think a lot of success for Texas from start to finish has been that ISO from up top, hoping the defender leaves to double team and then flashing middle. They've had a lot of success, and they have some taller guys in the middle that are fantastic at finishing inside. And I think that adds a little bit different of a look than most teams down here have. To have a finisher in the middle that is a taller guy, athletic looking, with also great skill is something that not every team has, and they have quite a few guys that have that ability in the middle.
That's exactly what I was going to say. How many tall guys and physically imposing looking guys do they have over here on this roster?
Size-wise, between these two teams, it's very evident Texas might have a beat on that side of the game.
Looking like a Space Jam Monstars lineup out there with Egan brothers and Jackson and Hupp and all those guys.
Someone has kids. We're talking Space Jam.
Unsettled here. Numbers. That's a great skip pass and a great dodge.
Oh, did they yell for a mom? It was a mom goal. Thought they had it at point blank range, but it goes behind the net.
Tough angle there on the righty, trying to finish it near side against the righty goalie.
But that's an example of where a skip pass can be beautiful. If he would have scored that goal there, we would have watched that, rewinded, and been like, that's an amazing play. It's a tough pass, tough look. You carry the ball up one way, and you're looking one way, and you throw the complete opposite way. The defense has no idea it's coming, and that's where you get the numbers in the backside. It's just getting the ball to that backside where the defense is not at. It's tough to do, but that's how you pick teams apart. Again, going back to being able to spin the ball quickly, which not every team can do.
But Texas definitely can. Number 6. Yeah, working his way through the defense of the Baylor Bears. Again, I think the Bears have pretty much accepted their fate here in this fourth quarter. And I love that you gave Ledeski some credit there, Morgan. He has been peppered with shots this entire game, and he has stood in the line of fire. No shame in that. Jeez.
Again, the ability to use your body, shield off, find out where the pressure is. The pressure was on his front side. He rolled away from pressure, kept it in his strong hand, and finished that shot. Size wins in that matchup 9 times out of 10, and he does a great job shielding the defender off of his body, away from his stick, and to be able to finish that shot. And he's done that quite a few times this game, and I think it's really cool to see some of these guys that may not see a lot of minutes playing the same system, doing the same thing. They're not trying to be the hero. They're doing a great job of just running the system, running the offense, and having success while doing it.
22-6 here as, man, leveling players. Whew. God, what a shot. Yikes.
Hey, 2 more on these. 2 more on these.
Now we have another man-up possession for Baylor, second of the day.
I think they got Wes Gilbert on that last penalty. Full 1 minute here for Baylor. Let's see if they can generate some points here with 6:39 left in this game.
There's no, take care of the ball. I know you're down by a lot, but you want a good shot, not a turnover here. What a great save. Honest, I mean, that's shooting high to low. It's just a great stop.
The third goalie in for University of Texas here. They're definitely coming out of them in waves.
Yeah, that's number 3, Jack Monahan, in for the Longhorns. Texas at the point where they have burned that penalty. We're all knotted up here.
I think that's going to be it.
Game called here. Okay, game called. That's the end of the game. University of Texas 22, Baylor 6, and a game that really, like from the beginning, Texas was rolling. They never took their foot off the gas and continued to pile it on. Nothing that the Baylor Bears could do to get back in this game.
Yeah, great offensive show here today, as well as defensively. I think they had a lot of great moments of pressuring the ball really hard and making Baylor feel unsettled. That's all you can ask for in a defense. And I think the offense did a great job of taking care of the ball and still going through the plays and being accountable on the O end, even when they're up by, 20 some odd, almost high 20s here. So nothing as a coach you can ask for more than that. I think it was a great offensive show here today, and I can't wait to see what they do moving forward.
Well, we are going to have some action tomorrow as University of Texas. The other game hasn't finished, but do believe that TCU was up big in that game on our second field. Man, this is if this first game was indicative of the way that this entire weekend is going to go, the number 1 seeds are going to run through these initial playoff games, as you saw right there. Man, Texas hard to deal with as you see action coming from the other fields. But what say you, Patrick, when you think about this game and just how impenetrable right now UT looks?
Yeah, Texas really has it all. I mean, they've got multiple scorers. They're super athletic. And, like we've been saying, they're super disciplined in both their offense and their defense. I think the most impressive thing for me today was just seeing, usually when you sub in multiple guys outside of your starting 6 or 8, your core group, play kind of deteriorates and you kind of take on another identity. But that didn't happen today for the Longhorns. They were methodical from start to finish, and I think that's something that's going to serve them well, as they really don't have any question marks, as a team in any facet. It'll be interesting to see, how they stack up against TCU if that's where it did end up holding up in the other side, because that was a 2-goal game. I believe you called that yourself. I was certainly out there watching, but that was a really good matchup, obviously very early in the season, as we see a couple highlights here from the game today.
Yeah, just early, just seeing them pile it on. Keep your eyes. Number 25, man, he was a big part of the success that they were having. There he is, Jacob Jackson, working his way in, and those are just easy, just front door scores, man. It doesn't get any easier than that. The Bears tried to make it interesting, getting some initial early scores, but nothing they could do about UT.
Yeah, really a steady dose of Jackson, Hupp, Stein, and then the Egan brothers. That was, their real 5 killers out there, and they definitely got after them in terms of moving the ball through offense and then looking inside quite often, as we see the behind-the-back finish there. They were pretty free and loose at that point.
A lot of draw and dumps here today on both sides of the field, or for both of these teams. I think a lot of times in men's lacrosse, you see a lot of outside shooters. And don't get me wrong, there was quite a few goals, but then again, there was around 22 goals here today. So there's going to be a mix of both. But I think that, like I said earlier, the ability to, when you see a defense playing you outside, to be able to finish inside, and maybe it won't be Jacob Jackson that is going to light up the scoreboard every single game. But he saw today that the early slide was coming, and he had the ability to step inside and finish those shots. So today, that defensive set that he went against was working for him, and you can see that here today.
Guys, did you see any chinks in the armor of UT?
What do you mean?
I mean, did you see any weak points? Is it just this?
Oh, yeah. I think always, as a coach, you can go back to the drawing board. I think there were quite a few turnovers on both sides. I think if you want to win at the highest level, turnovers are key. So maybe minimizing turnovers on both ends. But ultimately, you have to be happy with the way they played today. But just know, if you're playing against a team in a championship, any sort of championship, they're both not going to have a lot of turnovers. And I know it sounds cliche, the less turnovers, more time you have of possession. And that's the one thing I'd be getting on my kids is like every possession means a lot. Let's try to be as perfect as possible. And I think they did a great job today.
I got two coaches next to me. I'm learning so much. But you guys, make sure you stay with us. We have more games on the slate as more teams work their way onto field number 1. We'll have more action coming to you at 8 o'clock. So for Morgan Alexander, for Patrick Franklin, I'm Heckman Harrison saying so long. We'll be right back here in Melissa, Texas.
As they hold a 15-point advantage. 60 on the shot clock. As we start to see some more familiar faces return now for TCU in Robbie Hoyt and Matthew Lockman. Lockman and Hoyt will play the two-man game up top. As Hoyt looking for a shot, down to 45 on the shot clock. Instead, he'll dish to the near side. A nice open shot, just wide by number 29, Ethan Shaver. He had a great look on goal from the near side. The ball coming back into play out of X, brought in by number 13, Reed O'Connell. As O'Connell, a one-time shot and a goal right there with the tally. That's number 11, Luke P.
O'Connell was there for the dish, unselfish, dished it off, saw that his buddy was open and took a fine shot.
Yeah, UCP signaling for the ball. Right there goes 5-hole on Wolchuk. And Tom, it's now 16-5 in favor of the Horned Frogs.
You know, you look back at Coach Purcell's initial comments that he thought it'd be a ±3 margin of victory. Boy, did things go awry for these Sooners.
And the Sooners with only 5 goals on the evening, scored by 2 goal scorers, as Reed O'Connell will keep the ball in play on the far side. He'll be marked by Jackson Hicks, but another face-off win for TCU. Wolchuk makes the save on the loose ball in the crease, but the pass errant and picked up by the long stick midi for TCU, number 19, Darren Tovden. And Tovden completely shed Cooper Harris. Harris comes rolling into the TCU bench here on the near sideline.
Just good hustle. These Horned Frogs are just as stoked as they can be right now, despite the score. I think everybody wants to get in a last goal or two before the clock runs out.
And that clock with just over 8 minutes remaining here in quarter number 4 of this Division I quarterfinal. And folks, as we mentioned earlier, stay with us as we still have another exciting Division I quarterfinal coming up next between the University of Missouri and Texas A&M. And the winner of that game will face the winner of this game in one of the 2 Division I semifinals that will take place tomorrow afternoon right here on Game On Sports Network at 4 p.m. Central. So Oklahoma now with possession as Greg Drawn takes the ball into X, comes out on the far side, goes back up top with number 32, Shep Myers. And once again, Tom, I see no intensity, no alacrity. It's almost as if the Sooners have resigned themselves to their fate, and we're only midway through the 4th quarter.
Yeah, sadly enough, I think that is the case, Brian, and it just shows that I think they've just kind of given up. But you know, they can learn from this. This is going to sting. This defeat from a team that's got a better, lesser record is going to sting for a while.
And Drawn loses the ball out of bounds. The turnover to TCU as the ball brought back into play by number 15, Brace Martin. Martin, a 6'4", 200-pound sophomore. As it's now all freshmen and sophomores in the game for the Horned Frogs. As they look to take out the last 7 minutes of clock time here. They have 60 on the shot clock before they find themselves in a date in tomorrow afternoon's Division I semifinal.
OU retained a turnover.
Wolchuk with the save. He dishes out to number 19, Ben Claflin. Claflin looking to make a move. And he is roughed up just outside the crease by his counterpart, number 19, Darren Tofton. No penalty flag on that play, Jim. Or, I mean, Tom, I'm sorry, excuse me, but that was a lot of contact there right in front of the TCU crease.
You know, it could have gone either way.
Looked like it could have been a high stick to me.
Yeah.
But the officials say play on.
Officials are pretty much know what's happening out here tonight.
So we have less than 6 minutes remaining here in the fourth quarter as TCU still in command. Now 16-5 the advantage. 2 goals here in the fourth period, one by Reed O'Connell and one by Luke P. As it's all subs here in these final 10 minutes for the Horned Frogs. Oklahoma now with possession, a loose ground ball there, dropped by Jackson Hicks. And Hicks will lose the ball out of bounds on the far side. And that play right there pretty much is the entire story of the evening, Tom, for Oklahoma, as a simple pass from the goalkeeper to, you know, the midi to move it upfield has difficulty.
Well, they got fortunate there, Brian, that the one of the Horned Frogs tapped it last before it went out for them to retain possession. But now look what's happened. Another turnover, and here come the Horned Frogs once again.
Right, the goalkeeper, that's Snowy, in goal now for TCU. Moves the ball forward as Tofton will get the ball across the timeline, but he'll lose the ball. And now another penalty flag as the officials will stop play with just under 5 minutes remaining. And whatever the call is, we'll get it here from the official. And it will be a slashing penalty against Oklahoma. So not only is Oklahoma down 11 goals here with less than 5 minutes to play, they're now down a man for the next 60 seconds.
Interesting.
Now, you had a better look at that, Tom. Tell me what you saw from your vantage point.
Well, I didn't get to see the whole ordeal, but it looked like a penalty that turned into a turnover back over to the Horned Frogs.
So now the Horned Frogs man up for the next 60 seconds. And another penalty flag coming in. This will be another penalty against Oklahoma as TCU is playing the advantage. Ethan Griffin will move the ball. And Bacher unable to keep the ball in bounds. And now we'll get the penalty call with just over 4 minutes to play. Another slashing penalty. And now 2 players in the penalty box. The first penalty against Josh Hoved. And now this time it's number 11, Jackson Hicks, who will join Hoved in the penalty box. A 2-man up advantage for the Horned Frogs.
That was a good look.
And see if that was a goal. And it appears that may have been a goal. We'll check the replay. And it is Ethan Griffin with his second goal of the match. As he had a wide open look there, Griffin scores to make it 17-5 in favor of TCU.
You know, if you watch Griffin there, he took his time, went with his instincts, and was able to capitalize on yet another goal for the Horned Frogs.
So 5:01 remaining here in period number 4. As TCU now less than 5 minutes away from punching their ticket.
And winning another face-off.
Yeah, another face-off win. So not only did Joseph Kavanaugh have dominance in the face-off circle, it appears that JT Macedo doesn't miss a beat either, as he is also equal to the task for TCU. I mean, Macedo now, that's 6 face-off wins in a row for him. So 4.5 minutes remaining in the game, 55 on the shot clock for TCU. As Brandon Lee comes on, and now the fourth line will attack for the Horned Frogs. Number 47, Carlo Miggins, one of the twins out there quarterbacking this offensive effort with a bunch of youngsters as TCU will move the ball into X. They come all the way back up top with number 29, Ethan Shaver. Shaver double teamed. He'll get rid of the ball. Picked up by number 41, Brady Hughes. Hughes goes back up top, 20 on the shot clock as he'll dish back to Miggins. Miggins marked by number 23, Jay Cox. And the shot by Miggins goes wide. And it will be 16 remaining on the shot clock as TCU brings the ball back into play. A move there by Miggins. What a shot and a goal. Miggins goes over the top of his defender, right under the bar. A great shot here, as you'll see on the replay, Tom. And it's now 18-5 advantage for TCU. Watch this on the replay.
Just another good reflex action there. You know, you can't teach that. That's a natural ability at hand right here. And what a play. Further extending the Horned Frogs' lead.
So Carlo Miggins with the goal, his first of the game. And it's now 18-5 TCU. As we have just over 3.5 minutes remaining, or just over 3 minutes remaining. And a penalty flag on the play here. Or just a foul. This is a foul call. With 3:24 to play. We'll resume play now. TCU in possession. A full 80 on the shot clock. And they're just two shot clocks away here from an opportunity to advance to the semifinals tomorrow afternoon.
The semifinals are going to be something to really keep an eye on, and we hope you all stay tuned for that action, as it's going to be fantastic lacrosse.
Indeed, those Division I semifinals will come your way tomorrow afternoon right here on Game On Sports Network. We'll be on air at 4 p.m. Central Time. That's 5 Eastern. A shot on goal. What a crazy goal right there on the run. I believe that was Brady Hughes. Let's check the replay, as it's now 19-5 in favor of the Horned Frogs. And Brady Hughes goes back across his body. A fantastic goal for TCU.
Coming across his body, coming across the cage. Level shot, mid-cage. Just beautiful.
So Hughes now with a tally for the Horned Frogs. 19-5 is the score, as we have just under 3 minutes remaining in the game. A whistle and a hold call will give the ball to Oklahoma. So now Oklahoma with the ball, but trailing by 14. It would appear at this point now that Oklahoma just wants to put a couple of goals in the net to make the score just look a little bit better, Tom.
Yeah, I think they're just going to work on some fundamentals, get ready for what happens to them next. They know there's nothing they can do at this point.
And the ball in X with number 17, Trip Wood. He'll go back up top to number 2, Cole Caldwell. Caldwell comes all the way around, trying to move inside, tries a backhanded shot on Snowy. The ball goes behind the net, and as Hove tried to scoop it up, he just knocked the ball right to the goalkeeper, number 35, Jordan Snowy. And Snowy now in control as the clock moves under 2 minutes to play in the match.
Yeah, that was a good idea on that shot, but just not as accurate as it needed to be.
And now charging forward for TCU, number 25, Will Ralph. As Ralph puts a shot on goal, the save by Walchuk, rather. And a scramble for the ground ball. Pulled away by number 11, Luke P. Still on the ground. Nobody winning the ground ball yet. And now a whistle with 1:33 remaining. And we'll see who will have possession. It looks like TCU will keep possession.
There's already some minor celebrations over here on this Horned Frog bench. They've earned it. And they really came to play today, Brian.
And a penalty coming in on the slash. Picking up the penalty for Oklahoma, number 28, Colin Senger. So now 60 of the remaining 93 seconds in this match will be a man-up advantage for TCU. They get a fresh shot clock of 80. So they will be able to take most of the remaining time off this clock here and press that button and move forward to the semifinals tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, you've really got to hand it to these Horned Frogs. They stayed composed being down those 2 or 3 goals. They came back and rallied, and they haven't looked back.
No, they were down early in this game, 2-0. And after that, they came back and scored 10 over the course of 2 periods, scored 10 unanswered goals to take a 10-2 lead before Oklahoma could score again to make it 10-3, and since then they've never looked back. The only thing left now is if TCU can make it 20 with 40 seconds to play. Still 15 seconds remaining on the penalty to Singer.
And yet we see another turnover on the Sooners' behalf. That's been their Achilles all game.
Will Gambrell will hold up for TCU as they take the ball back into X with number 21, Mac Rodvold. The starters back on now for the Horned Frogs as we've got 20 seconds remaining in the match. They come back to the near side with Ethan Griffin. And Griffin will just walk around, not even being challenged by the Sooners. He'll leave the ball right on the pitch as both teams are content to allow time to expire. And the horn sounds ending this evening's game. Ladies and gentlemen, the final horn is sounded here at Ford Sports Village at the Z-Plex in Melissa, Texas, as Game On Sports Network has brought you live exclusive coverage of tonight's Lone Star Alliance Division I quarterfinal. And folks, your final score here from the Z-Plex: TCU Horned Frogs 19, Oklahoma Sooners 5. And Tom, this was just complete and total domination this evening by TCU.
Yeah, let's let them go enjoy the victory.
Indeed, and folks, we're going to step aside and take you over to the other field. Pardon me, we're going to keep it right here. Well, while they make up their minds, we're going to talk here for a little bit, Tim, as they have 12 different goal scorers on the evening for TCU. As we'll wrap up tonight's broadcast here and sign off. So, folks, on behalf of everyone here from Game On Sports Network and my broadcast partner, Tim McGee, this is Brian Shackelford thanking you for joining us and for your support of Lone Star Alliance Championship Lacrosse. And now we'll send it back